Greg Cody has gutted it out. He has limped out of here early. He made it as far through the game as he could make it, and I want to acknowledge it as one of the great old guy performances of all time. He polluted this show with cobwebs and dust and a whole lot of old guy talk.
He was singing Jack and Diane on the way out.
While limping out to tend to whatever it is that ails his leg after a John Mellencamp concert.
It was similar to Billy's story earlier. When you hear someone singing the words to Cheeseburger in Paradise, you just, I imagine that guy was woken up by the sound of someone going, I like mine with lettuce and tomato, like that. Like, it would wake you up. And similar with Jack and Diane, it's like a little ditty. It's fun.
Please stop doing
fun.
that.
Yeah, it's weird.
Fun.
My friend
Jack
texted me
and
to
Diane.
say that John Cougar Mellencamp gave her college commencement speech and smoked cigarettes the entire time.
Heaters.
That is the good stuff right there. That's not giving a
My
bleep.
guy.
Can you imagine what a great show we're going to do today in terms of ratings when 70-year-olds figure out how to do podcasts? It's going to crush today. There's going to be an onslaught. There's going to be a graph that shows the demo of 70-plus rushing to computers they don't know how to use in order to download this show today so they could hear Greg Cody's pontifications on old things and inexplicably connecting with Jessica on one old detective show.
You got to give Columbo another chance. It's really timeless, you know? It doesn't age as poorly as David Suchet's Poirot. Let's just put it that way.
Where can I watch it?
It's on Amazon or Netflix. I can't remember which one.
Can we just? I want to
Wait,
examine
you
this.
didn't stumble upon it?
No, I want to examine this for a
That
second.
sounds like a Pluto TV
It
channel.
might be
if
on
I've ever heard
Peacock.
one.
It might be on Peacock.
But she's searching it out. She is paying for the streaming service, or she gets the streaming service. And Jessica's consumption is not. It doesn't have anything else like this in it, does it? Your entertainment consumption.
I watch a lot of Murder, She Wrote. Also on Peacock.
Really?
And how much other old stuff does it have? Is it just is it a guilty pleasure to watch because it's just easy to watch in 24-minute increments? They go by fast and they're
Columbo
just.
episodes are up to 2 hours long, as I learned during the Johnny Cash episode. And yeah, Murder, She Wrote is an hour-long episodic and 45 minutes without ads, but on Peacock you get served
And you're
ads
saying it
every
all
now
holds
and
up?
then. More or less. I mean, some of it doesn't, but, you know. I've been watching The Last of Us, too. That is not an old show. I guess
know,
that balances it out.
but that
Actually
no, it
takes
doesn't.
place in the future, kind of.
It does not balance it out in any way. The Last of Us is a modern show, but I still don't understand and will not understand how someone your age happens upon Columbo.
Especially because we've had arguments where you go, I am under no obligation to watch movies that premiered before I was born, and you're watching a television show that premiered in 1968.
Again, the messages of Columbo are timeless.
Mm-hmm.
He's a witty little man.
Yes,
Yep.
agreed.
He outsmarts all of. He's a small guy, Roy.
Put it on the poll at
Tiny.
LeBatard Show. Are the messages of Columbo eternal at LeBatard Show?
I'm shocked by how weird you think it is to watch
It's-
older TV
No.
shows.
Well, just because you're young.
I
mean,
do it all the
that's all.
time, Jessica. It's you doing it. It's not weird because someone does it. I will stop all the time. I can't even help it on Three's Company.
Classic.
It's always the same. When there's
John
been
Ritter.
a communication. There's been a miscommunication about some sexual misunderstanding. It's always the same. And I will stop on it every time. And I'm ashamed of myself. I'm ashamed.
Why?
I'm ashamed to admit it out loud. But someone my age will do something like that to tap into something nostalgic.
But you're also doing it in a completely different way, which is you have a traditional cable package and you're going through the program guide and there is a Three's Company channel
That's correct.
showing that. Whereas Jessica is actively seeking out, going to Peacock Premium and seeking out episodes of Columbo.
Well, there is one place where I will do that. There's only one where I will seek out an old TV show through my streaming networks, and it is Miami Vice.
I tried looking for Miami Vice the other day and I couldn't find it. You have to buy it now. Where have you been streaming Miami Vice?
I
Colin
think it's
Farrell?
on Amazon. Not that one. Much older than that.
The original I think you can rent it on Amazon or something, or might be like one of the premium Amazon packages, because I don't know why. I was talking about Miami Vice the other day and I was like, should I watch a few episodes of Miami Vice just to
Great.
get like the 80s, 90s Miami vibe from a TV show. And my boyfriend was like, yeah, try it out. And then I couldn't find it.
I don't understand why that wouldn't be on Peacock. That was on NBC. That was made by Universal. That needs to be on Peacock.
It doesn't mean they have the streaming services for it, though.
But it might be on Peacock. I don't know where
It's
some
not.
of this stuff.
I
It's
just-
only, it's only available for rental or buying.
Wait, Jess, if we give you suggestions of shows that we watched growing up, would you try them out?
I've probably seen a lot of them if they're murder mystery related. But
Magnum
otherwise,
PI?
Please.
Really?
Daddy, yes.
But with Tom Selleck, you've seen it.
Yes.
Okay, Hill Street Blues?
No.
Is there another
Good one.
Is there another Magnum PI?
I think
without
CBS
Tom
is,
Selleck?
yes.
They
Yeah,
did a
yeah,
remake,
yeah.
didn't they?
CBS, of course.
Who is it? Who has replaced Tom Selleck on Magnum PI? That seems fairly blasphemous. I've seen that on CBS Hawaii 5-0 has got a bunch of new people in it who aren't the original people. But Magnum PI.
It's Jay Hernandez.
Yeah, Jay Hernandez.
Yeah.
You have something against Hispanic people, Dan,
They
playing lead
do.
roles.
That's what CBS does.
Playing Magnum PI?
Yeah, why
Does
not?
he have the stash and the thighs? I don't think so.
I think that's cultural appropriation.
You have Queen Latifah playing the Equalizer. I mean, guy was old. It's silver hair. Who was that guy?
Guillermo, tonight you are again rounding the community in a spirited form of exercise.
Guillermo Ton, is that what you're talking about?
What else would I be talking
Tonight
about?
at 8 p.m. Eastern. Are you going to ride with us?
What
Let's
is
ride,
happening?
Dan.
I do not have a Peloton.
Oh, why not?
I don't know why. I
There's,
don't have a Peloton.
support the people that support us, Dan. You should support Peloton. They support the show.
Okay.
Get a
well,
Peloton. Let's ride together. You and I.
um,
And all of our friends.
I don't have one, so I can't.
I have one.
Go to Tony's apartment. They have one in the lobby.
Wait, you have one?
I have a Peloton, yeah. Yeah. I know that's surprising to you.
Did you use it?
No.
Why don't you participate in what it is that Guillermo
Yeah,
is
right.
I
doing?
said I don't use it. I mean,
Yeah, but do it tonight, 8 o'clock.
maybe Abby will join
It's a
me.
feel-good ride, guys. 30
Abby
minutes.
loves it. Abby loves Peloton.
Yeah?
That's why we have it, yes.
It's going to be fun. We're going to, just ride for
But
half an hour,
wouldn't it
burn
be
some
more
calories
of an
together.
incentive if Stugotz participated in
I'm not good enough for you.
Guillermo
guys?
Ton?
Jeez. I mean, it's not Stugotz-a-ton.
How long is this Peloton ride?
Half hour.
Quick little 30-minute ride. You know what I mean? And then afterwards, if you want to be responsible, you do a cool-down ride and some stretch, and then that gets you prepared to go and ride again in the future. Wear the short shorts. The short shorts help. Have plenty of hydration, fuel, water.
I don't have the
Mainly.
shoes. Abby says you need the shoes.
Yeah, that is a thing. They do sell though on Amazon like the stirrups that you can kind of put on there and wear any sneakers if you want to do that, so that you don't have to buy the shoes. But you can also buy the accessories. I'm sure they have some sort of promotion going on for accessories right now. Tony's wife did it last time, and she invited her mom over to do the ride also. There was a misunderstanding the first time that we did it where people thought I was actually going to be the instructor in the class in the Peloton studio. So a lot of people showed up for that one. And then I think they quickly found out that no, it was not me that was doing it. We were just riding together to Camila.
There's a whole cult around certain Peloton instructors. I see this a lot on my social media where certain instructors have this huge following, and you only want to do it with someone. Is Camila
There was
your
a
instructor?
celebrity all-star, the celebrity all-star game. They had a Peloton instructor playing in
Really?
it. ESPN has I think she's still a current Peloton instructor, Jess Sims, who does College Game Day now.
Yeah. Peloton instructors are big. I have my Peloton instructor, but what I've been trying to do with Guillermo Ton is go and use different instructors so that, everybody has their favorite one. So let's try different instructors together, get out of our comfort zone. Just listen to some good vibe music, have a feel-good ride, not too intimidating. Just 30 minutes together, I almost did it at the Super Bowl, Dan. I didn't have time, but there was a Peloton in the hotel that they had us at, but I had a back issue, which is why I haven't had Guillermo Ton in a while. I hurt my back, an old man thing. I was trying to put up a shelf, and then I hurt my back. I could barely walk. And I'm just recovering from the burns that I was getting because I had I think it was Salon Paws, I think is the brand that I was using.
Christ.
And I had to put those patches on my back every day just to walk. I went to the ER.
And
It
they
was a whole
burned
thing.
you?
Yep. Well, I don't know if they're sponsored, but yeah. So, because what happened was it was basically on my back 24 hours a day because it was the only thing that actually got me up and moving. I couldn't stand. I couldn't walk. I was on crutches in the ER, and I said, guys, I'm hopping on a bird tomorrow. We need to fix this stat. And sure enough, the people at Baptist Hospital in Coral Way, the outpatient ER, said, okay, we got you, sir. And they fixed me up. Coral Way on 142nd.
How did you
if anyone's
hurt
wondering.
yourself putting up a shelf?
It's just one of those things that happens when you'll learn, Dan, as you age. This is the things that happen to you. You know what I mean? I was there and I was using the drill, and then I moved in a way in which I tweaked, and I couldn't put any weight on my leg.
I hurt myself as well. I was cutting down the portions of a couple of the trees that my neighbor owns.
Oh, the tree again.
Yeah,
Jeez,
I was cutting
this
them down.
tree.
And
In your lawn?
Yeah, in my lawn, from my lawn. And I was pulling all the branches and limbs back, and then boom, hurt my back.
You should try some Salon Pods. It really helps me out.
Salon Pods,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or go to the
How does
Baptist.
this show
should be
get
on
older
CBS,
when
yeah.
Cody leaves?
Yeah. You've never hurt your back?
How
Tweaked
is
your
that
back?
possible? No, I'm 20 years older than you guys, and I've never hurt myself putting up a shelf.
Have
You never put up a shelf.
Because
I
you're
watched
so
the
tall.
workers hurt themselves putting
10
up
years,
the shelf.
10 years older than me. All right, let's not. All right, you're not that old.
Jessica, you have Off the Looking Glass coming out again. You and Kate Fagan, a new season of Off the Looking Glass debuts today, correct?
That's correct, except it's no longer a new season. We are now doing the show weekly in perpetuity, I guess, until we die. Which may not
congratulations.
Be
That's
very
a great
far from
contract.
that.
Somebody's show could be your last
Considering-
show. Right?
That's true, considering I'm a Columbo fan. Could be any day now. Oh, knock on wood. Anyways, the episode that is out today is with Aaliyah Boston. So it's very exciting to talk to her. South Carolina's on another big run this year. They're number 1 in the country, undefeated. And so we caught up with her. And
Cox.
we'll have another episode next week, and then another one the week after that, and then another one the week after that, until we all die.
Anyone can be the last one, or if it's in perpetuity, none of them can be the last one, right? So the contract with you and Kate Fagan is a lifetime contract to produce them every week for the rest of time.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Off the Looking Glass makes its return today. Jessica wasn't here yesterday when we talked ever so briefly, way too briefly, Stugotz, I thought, of what I believe to be some of the greatest sports art I have ever seen. Alex Rodriguez being the person to send out on social media with what I think we all believe to be no sense of irony. His bare legs and a notepad that showed him beginning work on his book, and the only word written on the page and underlined was book. I believe to be, because of the player and because of what he was doing, a piece of satirical art that would rival any ever made in sports for funniest thing I have ever seen. Another person doing that isn't as funny as A-Rod doing it on A-Rod stationery.
Well, it's the stationery for me that really makes it. A-Rod Corp in the top right corner. Honestly, I thought his backyard would have been a little bit more impressive as well. It's just sort
you're
of
facing his guest house.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a standard looking backyard. I feel like I can see that in any house in Coral Gables. It's a standard looking
Are
backyard.
you yard shaming A-Rod?
I mean, it's just like, you see his legs. Honestly, when you see the original image, you don't even see shorts. Like there's like a little hint
You
of
just see
short
leggies.
in the bottom left corner. So you just see. It reminds me of there was a while where hot dogs or legs was a thing where like people would
it's still a
take
thing.
like pictures of the beach and you couldn't tell if people's legs were actually people holding two little.
Well, a lot of
little
people
tiny
were
hot dogs.
referring to where his notepad was resting as hairy hot dogs.
Yeah, I mean that's what they look
Yeah.
like. And also, it's very difficult. You need a clipboard if you're going to write on loose leaf paper outdoors. Like the
That's the
sturdiness.
other thing. This isn't even a notebook. These are just. It looks like a stack of white paper.
It's
right?
like you ran to the printer, grabbed some sheets of paper, walked outside, lied down, and said, "Look, I'm going to tell the world that I'm writing a book." It was an idea put together in 2 minutes.
Gee, have you guys ever written a book? Like, give the guy a break. Jeez.
I would probably sit
Do you have
down
a
in front of
yard that looks like
computer.
that? No. Jeez.
Is he handwriting his memoir?
I would probably sit at a computer.
We have
What's the matter with you?
we have a theory back here, Dan, and I'm just going to say we because I don't know if anyone wants me to betray their confidence. We have a theory back here. A-Rod, because I said he has to be in on this. Like, he has to know when he's doing that what the reaction is going to be, right? Like, he's just in on what's going on. And the theory is that he does things knowing that they're going to get made fun of, but isn't sure why. So puts them out there. And then once they get made fun of, he's like, I was in on it the whole time. Like, he knows it's going to get mocked, but is not sure why it's going to get mocked.
And why is it being mocked?
I mean, because it's a blank sheet of paper that just says book underlined with hairy legs and apparently a shameful yard in the eyes of Woody.
It's not shame. It's just I expected his backyard to be opulent, and it was not.
You're looking
You're not
at probably like
seeing
an
all of it.
eighth of that
Right.
yard, if even that.
I'm
You
sure
were impressed by the stationery, though, right?
Whittingham,
Very
I am
nice stationery.
sure his backyard is indeed
I don't.
opulent.
He has phallic hedges. What more do you want?
It's so. I mean, it just look like hedges to me.
I didn't see the phallic hedges.
They're behind his leggies.
The part of it that was funniest to me is it is literally the least amount of effort you can put toward writing a book that isn't the least amount of effort, which is just thinking that you're going to write a book. The next step, he has only taken 1 inch of a step toward the writing of that book.
Been there.
There are no steps between the thought and there's no second step that resides between the thought and what it is that he's done. He has put forth the least possible effort.
He wrote book, Dan.
That's it.
So like
That's-
he
He
did get
underlined
in,
it too.
He could have put more effort out into the world if he shared a screen grab of him on a phone call with Jason Stark, in which Jason Stark was writing his book for him, or some other baseball writer. Like get a ghostwriter or something. That would have been more like calling someone. Can you write my book for me? Would have been more work than what he did.
The great thing to me is the next step of that's now sitting somewhere in his house as 1 sheet of paper that only has the word book written on it, never to be touched again.
Honestly, I imagine there are many sheets of paper that look like that from March of 2020 of people attempting to either write or start books or other kinds of endeavors where it's like, all right, today's the day. I'm going to be alone in my house for 3 months, if not more. I am going to start whatever I've been planning on starting today. And then you look at it a year later and it still says book on the top of the paper.
I started Pelotoning. You can join me tonight at 8.
How about Stugotz?
He can join me too, so can you, Dan.
I don't have a Peloton.
Everyone's
so
I don't have
welcome
the
to
shoes.
join.
I can't to join you.
Everyone's welcome to join.
8 o'clock is late.
Stu.
Seriously, Stugotz?
It is a little bit later,
It
but
is,
I
man.
thought, for the West Coasters,
Wait,
it's 5
Dan.
o'clock. Because one of the ones we did was at 6 o'clock, but that's 3 in the afternoon on the
Actually,
West
you know
Coast.
what? I think I need to change my opinion here on
Oh, thank
Stugotz.
you.
Well, 8 p.m. is not actually late, but it is late for exercise.
Thank you.
Because if you're going to sleep anytime after that, do you really want a Peloton ride coursing through your system?
You have
Why
to
not?
shower.
Yeah, wash
your hair
It's
again.
a feel-good ride. What are you guys missing here? Jeez.
But I'll be up till midnight. I mean,
Why?
You have a rush, you know?
No, then you can go on to Peloton. You can use one of their classes, a meditation class, maybe a sleep meditation, go to bed. They have a whole program.
Do they have Stugotz programmed in there? Because if not, I'm not meditating with it.
There's a Grateful Dead program in there. There is. Great ride. I haven't taken it yet, but I watched my wife do it.
80 for Brady, great movie.
I could see, Billy, how how people would expect you to be the instructor of the class if it's going to be named after you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I created the name. I made it up. It's not like... and by the way, I'm getting nothing out of this. This is just for funsies and, community building. Let's ride together. You know what I mean? I could see the confusion. I didn't think about it at the time. I said, wow, a lot of people joined. And then Tony told me, he's like, my wife, her mom's coming over. They're going to take the class together. I'm like, wow, that's so nice. And they're like, you're hosting it, right? I'm like, no, I just said, like, let's ride together and set on some invitations.
Do we know if Chris Cody and Rudy Gay have become friends?
They're best friends.
Yeah, I saw Rudy Gay shared a screenshot or a screenshot of the video we released yesterday of Chris Cody talking about this, and it was like, I saw you.
And he tagged him, too,
And
which is
I'm
big.
not certain if Chris was like excited about that or relived the traumatic experience of the like the no face the no facial hair recognition. I don't know if that was traumatic for him or sort of
Whittingham, do you feel like
relief.
you explained that correctly, or do you think everyone's
No, it was the,
listening to every part of the show? I think you probably need to explain that a little bit better.
Did the thing.
You want me to retell the whole Rudy Gay anecdote?
I'm
Yeah.
just thinking
Well, he
there are
also
a lot
did
of
screen grab he
I
shared.
think there are a lot of people who listen to our show and they don't listen to all of our show, and they may have missed how and where Chris Cody became friends in Utah with Rudy Gay. And I thought Rudy Gay was being paid in order to make this social content with Chris Cody. So it might not be that they're friends. It might just be that Rudy Gay is doing Dollar Shave Club a solid. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with paid friendships, Dano.
Agreed.
Pointing it out.
Little added value for DSC. I mean, I don't want to be so sinister as to think that Rudy Gay and Chris Cody could only have friendship if it's bought and paid for. But yeah, it was so there was a moment where Chris Cody was shaved, his face was shaved as a result of losing a bet, courtesy of our friends at Dollar Shave Club. Tony Colladiu beat him in a basketball contest, and so he had to get his face shaved. And they had an exchanging of eyes at a Fat Joe party in Salt Lake City, and Chris Cody thought that they shared a moment, but it turns out that Rudy Gay was looking over his head at somebody else who he had a moment with, and then afterwards Rudy Gay gave him a pity, yeah, I saw you do the thing. But it seems as though, based off of their interaction on Instagram, that was not a pity.
No, he did a
interaction.
That's right. There was a caressing of Chris Cody's face that was meant for Rudy Gay that he thought Rudy Gay acknowledged, but Rudy Gay was looking at the man behind Chris Cody.
No, but I mean, if he saw it, he clearly was looking partially. How about this? What if he was looking at Chris Cody the whole time and the person behind Chris Cody thought Rudy Gay's looking at me and then went over to say hello to Rudy Gay because they're like, of course he's looking at me. I'm a tall person, which is the only description that Chris Cody gave, right? And then Rudy Gay's like, I was just trying to look over at my new friend Chris Cody, and now this clown came over here, and I have to talk to this person. You know what I mean?
Do you think they're friends?
Respectfully, I don't know who it was.
Do you think they are now friends? Why would you think? Why would you fall for the idea that Rudy Gay and Chris Cody now have some sort of cosmic connection?
Because he reposted the thing, and he tagged Chris Cody, and he put a bunch of laughing, crying faces. Look, in the logic of Chris Cody, this was great for Chris Cody. You know what I mean? He may have been embarrassed and shared that story of his embarrassment, but the repost and tagging of him, this was great for Chris Cody.
I do like how the other person in the story keeps getting taller every time it's told, and now it's Victor Wembanyama or something who's Rudy Gay is trying to talk to. It was such a tall guy. He was so tall.
Have you guys seen the video? I had not known that the way that both Wembanyama and Damian Lillard shoot a basketball is different than I thought people shot a basketball, which is that it leaves off of the palm of his hand sort of spun in a way that confused me when I saw it. I'm like, how is he able to be that precise shooting a basketball that way? Because fingers. You have to. No, the fingers are involved, but it's I can't explain it to you exactly with just audio, but I would ask you to look up how the ball leaves the hand of both Wembanyama and Damian Lillard. And when you're talking about a guy who at the AllStar Game pulled up before the half-court line and is, Stugotz, I think we can say, the second best range shooter in the history of the league and would be unprecedented
behind Bird,
if not for the existence of Steph Curry.
Oh.
Range shooter.
Oh. Got it.
There's a big difference between the distance on where it is some of these people can shoot their threes.
Yes.
But if you look at what I'm talking about, and this is not great as audio content, but if you care about, artists who are great at what they do, who are sculptors, I was confused by the way the ball was leaving his hand, and it's something that I had never noticed before, except when I saw this video.
Yeah, there's a Twitter video from @bballbreakdown, and the way that this person describes it is the ball is more in his palm with the finger pads coming off the ball when the wrist is in full extension before making contact with the ball again on the release. And this person describes that technique as truly unique and actually suggests that it might help his ability to shoot from 35 feet because that technique might be better with controlling the ball from that far away.
And again, what that technique is doing is basically the fingers are getting involved at the very end of the push, but the ball is rolling before it gets to his fingers. And so when you're watching someone shoot from 35 feet, Stugotz, and the perfection of this, right, we always lose sight of how good these guys are. The Miami Heat released a video of Kevin Love in the corner making 1 million threes in a row because when no one's guarding these guys, they've gotten the mechanics of this down so much that it doesn't even matter if you are guarding them. They don't see you. They don't feel you. It's just repetitive motion after repetitive motion. But to see a guy doing it from half court better than anybody, what are you laughing about, Guillermo?
Because Tony in the corner just said, I can explain it if they want.
Well, of course.
I could. I mean, no, I'm an excellent shooter. And so the point is there's two ways to shoot a basketball, right? Like the way that they teach you is you have to have some space between the palm of your hand and the ball. But what Dame does is he has it flat on his palm like that. And then it's moving this way, like I'm doing it for the video, but it's moving up his hand to his fingers, and then when he lets it go, he snaps his wrist, and that's where he gets a ton of rotation. The reason why he can shoot so far too is that it all stems from his hips. He can push from his hips further and shoot the ball at the same time, which gives him the distance. Stuff like Steph Curry, other guys that are smaller in stature that don't have as much range as a KD or LeBron or somebody else that has that just innate power.
I feel like Dan just said that.
Regardless, I
love you, Tony. Thank you.
I don't want to lose sight of good support of Tony. Appreciate it, Stugotz.
Well, I mean,
appreciate it, Billy.
He was more efficient, though.
I don't want to lose sight of Dame Lillard being someone who very naturally pulls up at half court in the All-Star game. The net barely moves, and we're kind of unsurprised by it because he can do that. In what world am I living in that's a good shot for him? The net barely moves from that distance.
I think Lillard has some crazy number of the percentage of shots from beyond 30 feet in the NBA that he just takes them regularly. To me, the thing that's fascinating, I mean, him and Curry, obviously, but to me, the thing that's fascinating is that he shoots from that kind of range, and it's not an appreciable difference in the technique.
The form.
Right.
Yes.
It's not like the two-handed
Steph looks the same from half court as he does from shooting from the three-point line.
Him shooting and just at a higher arc with more power.
I don't know if the rest of you are interested in the physics or the mechanics of that, but what Tony is describing and what I'm attempting to describe is the idea that the fingers at the very end of that are pushing a rolling basketball out of his hand. The precision of that from 35 feet seems absurd. And for 45 feet. 50.
It seems like you're questioning it, like he should be doing it differently. Like there's a better way to do it.
It's not that I'm I guess what I'm questioning is the fact that really it's not merely unprecedented, if not for Steph Curry, but it's also unprecedented on top of unprecedented, where he's figured out a different way to shoot. That's not how everybody's doing it.
Unique technique.
That he's shooting a basketball differently than all the other people who are shooting basketball.
And differently, like Tony said, that you would be coached to shoot. You would not be coached to shoot like that. He sort of found his own way. And if Wembanyama brings us to the NBA, is he going to be shooting from three-quarters court normally?
I mean, he shoots three-pointers off of one leg and no one can guard it. And if the sport keeps Stugotz, it stands to reason.
If he pulls off from his own foul line, man, I'm going to have issues.
Normal traditional shot. I mean,
it's not a good shot.
Did you see? So Brian Windhorst and Jonathan Givony went out to France to do the big profile on Victor Wembanyama, and he is one of the few superstars where the people around him are trying to tamp down what his height is, that they don't actually want it out there that he's 7'5" in shoes. He's 7'5". They list him at 7'4", and I think it's because they're afraid that 7'5" will make people concerned about injuries, but they're trying to tamp down how tall people consider him to be. They don't actually want it out there that he's 7'5", and the ESPN story said they're not certain that he's done growing, that he could be even taller.
Dear God, Stugotz.
I mean, San Antonio is really, really giving max effort to try and get this guy. They've lost 14 straight.
Are they going to beat out Houston? Is Houston who's going to get there first?
They're a game behind Houston in the stakes to get Wembanyama. So right now, Houston is 13-45. The Spurs are 14-45. But I'll remind you, Spurs have lost 14 straight. They have closed the gap.
Well, it doesn't matter because they've flattened the odds for the worst three teams. So you just have to finish in the bottom three to have a 14% chance at one.
Right.
But there's four clear teams that have decided we're all in on this. Even Orlando, there's 7 games ahead of Charlotte, who have the fourth worst odds. So those four, Houston, San Antonio, Detroit, and Charlotte, are all in for the 7'5" guy who can shoot threes.
And bum that this is the year that you can't just break the record for losses, because God, that would be fun to watch. It would be fun. And as Silver's trying to control load management, and my guys don't care, and why they want to play 40 games, and we want to get to the postseason with everyone healthy, and you would have such a great race if someone knew they could get the next LeBron, a 7'5" Giannis,
Who can shoot threes.
If we would watch a team in professional basketball have 0 wins, this season.
Oh, with the old system,
If-
or
with- yes,
if it was
with
just
the-
like
no,
in
no.
the NFL system
If
where
right-
you
if
pick
we-
first.
If we had a confluence of events right now that the worst team gets that player, you would have a team in the NBA right now with 0 victories. And by
Yes.
the end of the season, if there were multiple teams with 0 victories, you would have them scoring in their own basket in order to get someone who would change your
They
franchise.
should play a series,
this way.
a tiebreaker series for Wembanyama. Whoever loses gets him.
You're scared of his name. I do not blame you.
Like when the Texans played the Bears earlier in the NFL season.
Both teams trying to lose.
But what if
Yes.
what if they gave it to the team that won though? And you like all of a sudden you go from losing all season to you were and would even those
That should
players
be the
try?
All-Star
Wait, so
game.
you're saying the Rockets and the Spurs play a best of 5 for the number 1 pick of the draft?
Yes.
With you have to win to
Ooh.
get it? I
Idea.
would watch that. I
The
would.
worst teams during the All-Star break play against each other for the number 1 pick in the next year's draft. That's how we fix the All-Star game. We just turn it into a high-stakes game between 2 NBA teams.
I'm in on that.
But those players though, like you always hear that there's always an like well, I'm really gonna care about the guy who's gonna replace me and you know that player won't care about me and the team won't care about me once we're out of winning 15 games a year mode and once we get into actually trying to win titles mode. The veterans on that team won't necessarily be overly incentivized by getting the number 1 pick.
Then we do TNT versus ESPN NBA crews. I don't know why we're wasting our time. This has been the idea for years. Put Charles Barkley and Shaq against all the ESPN people.
Woody, how about classic Rockets versus classic Spurs? So you bring back Duncan, Big Fundamental, the Admiral, Sean Elliott.
Rasho Nesterovic.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. And they take on, Elijah Wan.
So instead of the
Big
Rising
Shot
Stars
Bob.
game, they do like the Falling Stars game.
Yes.
I like that idea too. I
good
feel like we've
idea.
got a lot of good ideas
Yeah.
here.
You like that idea right
Workshop
up.
a few of
You
them.
like that idea right up until I make you watch 60-year-olds playing basketball. That idea sounds good right up until it becomes Ice Cube's league.
Fading Stars is a better word for it. Yeah.
You don't want to watch those people. I don't know, Stugotz, how you felt about this, but when I saw Pat Riley running a practice in Hawaii of all those old Lakers teams of Magic and Kareem and watch them shuffling around, it was meant to conjure romantic nostalgia. It just made me sad.
Oh no! We should do this and market it as the Expendables 5. That's what this is.
How do we do it? How do we build out Expendables 5? Like what needs to be done? Who is it that you want to see in this game of old people between the Rockets and Spurs to decide who gets Wembanyama in an old system that no longer exists?
Give me some Artist Gilmore. I mean, that would be amazing. George Gervin.
The tough one would be if the Charlotte Hornets got involved because there are not a lot of historical figures to tap in the history of the Charlotte Hornets.
They'd ruin it.
I think Jordan counts.
They would ruin it. If we'd have Jordan play, imagine that.
Oh.
Michael
back.
Jordan, who just turned 60.
Everyone is watching this.
Him and Charles Barkley just turned 60.
And Sylvester Stallone.
And so you have now the Rockets and the Spurs. So we traffic in nostalgia so much that this has suddenly become a good idea. If we're going to celebrate Michael Jordan Day, I do believe people would watch. Michael Jordan is playing today as a member of the Charlotte Hornets, and the stakes are he gets Wembanyama and gets to become from a bad owner to a good owner.
It appears to be
The Hornets versus the Rockets. You could put Barkley on the Rockets. This is great.
If you put Michael Jordan on any TV program to do any competition to get the number 1 pick in the NBA draft, that is going to rate.
Yes.
That is money. We
Agreed.
are printing
He
money
was playing
right now.
darts, people would watch.
Oh, he should play darts. That would be the best version. Forget basketball. That would be electric.
Shuffleboard.
And instead of a bullseye, it's just Wembanyama's face in the middle.
Stugotz would finally be able to see Michael Jordan play against Hakeem Olajuwon and see if Hakeem Olajuwon deserved any of those championships he won only when Michael Jordan was retired.
It would be his chance to get him back.
What an amazing idea. 2 days in a row for Stugotz. Aaron Rodgers emerging from the darkness, wearing the jersey of the next team that he's going to be on, a live pay-per-view event.
This is like Easter Sunday. He rolls out of the tomb. of darkness with a Jets jersey on. This is blasphemy.
It's so
On Ash
wonderful.
Wednesday.
How much would you pay for it? How much would you
To
pay?
watch it?
If I told you,
There's smoke involved too, by the way.
Again with the smoke.
There has to be smoke.
Yes,
okay?
There always has to be smoke.
Understood.
Yeah, like the Pope over
You
here.
don't get it.
Stugotz, I do get it, Billy. It's not hard to understand. It's not so nuanced that it goes over my head. I do get
not
it.
for everyone.
There needs to be smoke. There need to be pyrotechnics. It has to be a produced television special. Yes. He has to emerge from smoke, and it has to be hard to see initially what the jersey is because he's emerging from pyrotechnic smoke.
I'm not watching this. I would pay, however, at least $100 for pay-per-view of Michael Jordan playing darts right now.
Jessica, if I told you that Aaron Rodgers was coming to one of your 8 teams like the Bears,
He's not coming to
I
any
know,
of my
but
8 teams.
I
That's
know,
why I'm
but
not
I know,
watching it.
but
If the Steelers were a
But
possibility.
if I told you that it was a possibility, that what it was going to be is
Who's keeping the money? Who am I paying? Does this go into Aaron
does
Rodgers'
this matter?
pocket?
No,
I'm
let's
not
make
paying for it.
let's make the hypothetical this. Just how much would you pay?
LeBron did it for the Boys and Girls Clubs.
LeBron did do it. He did it as the decision, and no one's done it since. Everyone has run away from that decision as terrible decision making, including the CEO of this company who did it for ESPN. No one, in retrospect, thinks it was a good decision. Let's do
They
it
should
again.
be proud of that.
They should be.
That was a great idea.
Yeah.
They
And
should be.
honestly, it really ruined it. If you go back and look at the television ratings for that show, I think it did like 9.9 million viewers, which is more than a lot of NBA playoff games get on television. That idea should have been copied, not been
More
a
than
shit.
all of them.
Respectfully,
Yeah.
what the hell else was on ESPN in 2010 that we can remember? I don't know.
Right.
A lot of
Not women's
people
sports.
didn't like it at the time. If right now I asked the audience and made it open to everyone, Stugotz, because LeBron was in play. Everybody was being reported as in play for LeBron. You remember months of conjecture and speculation. So there were half a dozen teams that thought they were going to get him. If I make it right now, tonight, Aaron Rodgers emerges from the darkness into the TV lights. Yes, through smoke, Stugotz.
Thank you.
Through very important smoke, huge amounts of smoke.
Yeah.
And he will be wearing the jersey of the team that he is going to. Do you realize, did you see how New York got with a single Knicks playoff victory, dancing in the
I
street?
did, yes.
And they thought they were going to get LeBron in New York as well.
Yep.
If Aaron Rodgers emerged from that smoke in a Jets jersey,
Oh, forget
and
it.
there's also a camera on the face of a crestfallen Derek Carr, somewhere as Derek Carr realizes,
Oh no, I have to go to Carolina now.
Ah!
The Jets are the better option.
He could be a first ballot Hall of Famer if he goes to the Jets, Dan. I don't know if you heard.
I heard Derek Carr say that. Yes, he's talked to Jets management, and he has decided he could be a first
Oh, geez.
ballot Hall of Famer.
But in the spirit of the decision, we need more leaks of where Aaron Rodgers might go, because
Yes, you have to give everyone a little bit of hope.
You have to give everyone some hope, because that's why LeBron James got booed in every arena in the NBA in 2010, including in Memphis, where he was never going. He was never going to Memphis, but they booed him anyway. You need to build that suspense, because obviously the New York Jets fans would watch, but who's the second fan base that's turning on the television?
I think Vegas would
think
watch.
Vegas?
Well, Green
Yeah.
Bay's going to watch.
That's
Green
true.
Bay's going to
That's
watch.
true.
Vegas is going to watch.
We need
San
some-
Fran may watch. I
We
don't
need
know.
some leaking. We need some leaking. We need and we need a second meeting, because for me, the big suspense of the LeBron decision was Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh taking a second meeting with the Chicago Bulls, because that is about as empty as I've ever felt as a sports fan. It's like, oh no, we can go to all three of them to nothing if they take the second Chicago meeting.
Then they did the empty chair in a Chicago restaurant. Remember that?
That's right.
Who's missing? Right.
Witty's right, though.
Oh.
They need to leak it to some people beforehand, because when Jesus did it, they leaked it everywhere before that was going to happen.